Royals baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. And no matter what happens tonight, the Royals have a winning road trip. But with a victory over the Astros, they'll go back to Kansas City, finishing 6-3. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the ballpark with Rex Hudler. I'm Ryan Lefevre. Joel Goldberg is coming up. The critics didn't feel the Royals would be very good this year for a number of reasons. One of them was the departure of James Shields, and most people, Hud, were unimpressed with the signing of Edinson Volquez.
Well, what do they think now? He has been solid. And by the way, that 6-3 record you mentioned sounds really good. Especially these teams they've been playing. They're all good. But Volquez has made a huge difference in that rotation. He's been solid. His pitches are outstanding, and the team responds behind him.
He is our most trusted player, brought to you by the most trusted brand, Honda. And let's take a look at some of those pitches.
Oh, man, has he been dangerous. And, you know, when you have that type of movement down in this game of baseball to hitters, that is a very difficult pitch to square up. Some guys have lateral movement, and that gets hit because it's flat across the zone. Not these pitches. All three of them have downward movement, and he don't care what uniform and what city it's in. He just wants to get the job done.
And keep these Astros in the ballpark. They have hit 3 home runs in this series and have outscored the Royals 10-1. Joel is coming up next.
Look at the Texas League AA All-Star game last night. Royals prospect Jorge Bonifacio going deep with the home run. He was named MVP of that All-Star game. So good news and congratulations to him. Back here in Houston, Royals trying to avoid the sweep, and one guy that they've been relying on as far as his bat lately, Lorenzo Cain. Now, like so many of the Royals, he's dealing with a little bit of an injury. In his case, it's a hamstring injury, and so they've said that they're going to manage this thing, try to keep it to short term instead of long term. He was in the outfield last night. Tonight, we'll see him as the DH.
He can control his quick bursts, easier as a DH right now, and with Haas being out for the next couple days, it provides us the opportunity to, DH Kane, which is a good thing.
So trying to keep everybody healthy and in one piece until the All-Star break. Final road game before the All-Star break, and then a trip home. Ryan and Rex have the call coming up next.
The U-verse revolves around you. Call 1-800-PIC-ATT. By your local Kansas City Chevy dealers. Come visit for great prices on all new 2015 Chevy vehicles. And by the Missouri Lottery, every ticket you play gives back to schools across Missouri. So play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. Johnny Cueto and the Cincinnati Reds beat Minnesota this afternoon, so the Royals lead is 5 games in the Central with a chance to go up to 5.5 with a win tonight. And then the Royals will play 4 straight against the Twins at Kauffman Stadium beginning tomorrow night. Royals batting order has Lorenzo Cain back in the designated hitter spot. That's where he was on Monday, back to center field last night. Joel was discussing how Ned Yost is trying to protect Cain's right hamstring. Salvador Perez back behind the plate. He was the DH last night. And more playing time for Gerard Dyson on this road trip.
A lot of ground to cover. Hope his groin's okay, because he might have to travel a little bit. But although if Volquez is pitching down like he likes to, there won't be a lot of fly balls given up.
All right, tell us about 23-year-old Vincent Velasquez.
He's a young, very aggressive with his fastball thrower. He's not a pitcher yet, so he's a thrower, and he's going to go 92 to 97 with his fastball. He'll average around 94, and it's a little bit erratic. He's got a curveball to go with it. Sometimes it's a big curve, sometimes it's a small curve. He's not sure. He's a young guy. He's only 23, and he's got a changeup that really is his best secondary pitch. Although he doesn't throw it all that much, he has pretty good command with that.
Two good defensive teams. No errors have been committed in the first 2 games. Here are the Astros defensively, and Evan Gattis, who came up as a catcher, versatile enough where he will play in left field with that short porch here at Minute Maid Park.
Yeah, they played him out there in center field. I mean, excuse me, in spring training quite often. But you know, if you're a hitter and you can aim it, you want to aim it to him. And, you know, right fielder Preston Tucker, he's not a great fielder as well, but you know what? This team's done pretty good defensively. They're just third least amount of errors in the American League with 40.
Now, Civis Escobar back in the lineup last night. He was a late scratch on Monday because of that cracked fingernail. 1 for 4 in last night's game, and he has hit in 7 straight. And batted .355 on this long trip through Seattle, Oakland, and Houston, and tonight wraps up the Royals stretch of 17 out of 22 days on the road.
Is he going to swing at the first pitch tonight? He likes to.
No, he's not.
And that's a great idea. I was just going to say, he's got just 19 in the third innings, Velasquez does. So far in his big league career, 11 walks. Eyeball it. A lot of those are up and out of the zone, too.
Another high draft pick of the Astros getting to the big leagues. He was their 2nd round pick in 2010 out of high school in California. 93 with a little bit of ride in on Escobar. 1 and 2.
Got a little bit of hair on him. But as he gets going, he likes to, with 2 strikes, elevate that fastball, the 4-seamer. Let's see if he tries that up there or works his changeup.
Escobar fooled badly on a hard breaking ball down and away. 1 down.
Hey, Escobar says, you know, I took 2 good fastballs down the middle. I can't let that happen again. Secondary pitches. He's a young guy, doesn't have a lot of command with those field pitches. So hopefully we don't see a lot of that. So if he's throwing fastballs in that strike zone, go ahead and attack him. Nobody's seen him in that Royals lineup. They've never faced him before.
Mike Moustakas is hitless so far in this series. A very rare 0 for 10 for him this year. Mike Moustakas has 85 hits, 12 shy of his total from last year. How big the turnaround has been. He could have very easily, because the Royals have 12 more games before the break beginning tonight, he could easily have more hits at the All-Star break this year than he did in both halves last year. 95 up and away, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
It's the pitch right there that Royals are going to have to discipline themselves to lay off of. Looks good. But you know, if it's going to be in that area and it's down a little lower, Moose can go to the opposite field. That porch out there is 315.
Popped up to shallow left. Valbuena all by himself on the left side, and he brings it down 2 away. Well, the Royals coaching staff, Ned Yost, has only been 2 games and 2 batters, but very impressed with this Astros team. And we wondered, and I think everyone in baseball is wondering, you know, how much of this is for real. Houston is 12 games above 500. They have good pitching. They're among the top 3 in team ERA. They have a strong bullpen. They lead the league in stolen bases. They hit home runs, and they play pretty good defense. But there's no way to defend this, and we'll see how far Lorenzo Cain goes with that sore hamstring. And it's deep enough for him at about even at 75% to check in with a 2-out triple.
And there's the Royals fans. Heck, in the 2 games they've only scored 1 run. We haven't heard them here, but they're here. He just good easy swing. He barreled it. Look at that back leg. That back leg got him down low enough to where he could plant that ball in left center. And Springer, he bobbled it once. That let Lorenzo Cain into third base. Now watch Locaine. This is how you pace yourself. Got a sore hamstring.
Just take it easy, take the double. He's seeing right there that he bobbled it. He goes, all right, I'll go to third. I'll go to third. Well, very smooth and easy. Now, with 2 outs, get him home. The Royals have not been able to capitalize early in games. Get up.
Left field, deep, and gone. That's the Royals' first hit with a runner in scoring position the whole series. And it's the first time they have led in this series.
10th homer on the year, and just what they needed with 2 outs. Bam Bam, Kendry Burke, Morales goes deep. That's how you can do that high fastball. There it was, outer half. Didn't try to do too much. Just put a nice, easy pass on the ball. And when you have that kind of strength, and you got a short porch out there, that's doable.
Well, he really let Velasquez provide the power on that swing, didn't he?
It was beautiful. There you go. Just trot on home, Locane. There you go, Volquez. It was his 10th homer and 50th ribby. Way to go, Tabo. Can't contain him. Got popped all fields.
It's his second home run on this trip, where he's homered to the opposite field. And the Royals scored 1 run in the first 2 games. They really couldn't get their offense going, but they were far from shut down. They had plenty of base runners, just couldn't get that hit with a runner in scoring position. And with their first opportunity tonight, Morales turns it into 2 runs. The Royals have been 0 for 12 with a runner in scoring position in the first 2 games.
Right, come on.
Second home run of this series for KC. Salvador Perez hit the first one. Hit it off the back wall in left field on Monday night. Just got underneath that one. That was the pitch he wanted. 3 Astros running into each other. Oh boy. That's it. Singleton will be sent to the minor leagues for allowing a pitcher to catch a pop-up.
Shame on him. Look at Locane staying down low with that swinging. Morales. Bam, bam. 2-0.
West over the Angels. They are playing the Yankees tonight, and Oakland and Seattle continue to struggle. Many picked those 2 teams to be at the top, and they're at the bottom. And A.J. Hinch, he has a lot of options on offense. We were talking about a last half inning. The Astros lead the league in home runs and stolen bases. And they'll be facing Edinson Volquez. Kia puts us in the driver's seat. Edinson Volquez has never lost to the Houston Astros.
That sure sounds good.
His last start was a shutout in 2012, pitching with the Padres. Stop of Escobar's glove, and George Springer is on to begin the bottom of the first inning. It is the last night for All-Star voting, and we say hello to everyone at McFadden's, the Power and Light District, the Royals vote party, ending tomorrow night at 10:59 Central Time.
Hammer down, folks. Pedal to the metal with the votes. Let's finish strong and make it a very special year for the All-Star game. Decorated royal blue.
Strike to Altuve.
This ball he didn't scream it, barrel it, but Escobar just nicked off his glove. Jammed him some, but a good swing.
On the ground to Escobar, and he looked up too quick. And the ball's off his glove again. This time the Royals should have gotten at least one out. And the Astros have two on with nobody out.
Exactly right, Ryan. He tried to do too much too soon, but thankfully they're going to give the hitter a base hit on it, and it won't be his ninth error. He's got there. See how he looked away. He was trying to look away and set up his feet to try to get the force at second base. Volquez this season has done a really good job of pitching to his defense. He's induced 8 ground ball double plays. Gaddis, he's a lane ball candidate. If you can just get him to hit that ball on the ground, he's grounded into 5 this year.
And he's their big RBI man with 47 this year. Did not play on Monday night, and Gaddis was 2 for 4 last night with a triple and a run scored. He doesn't look like a triple kind of a guy, but he leads the Astros with 4. Good breaking ball, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Ooh, that's a nice hammer there. Good overhand bite to it. And he hits the ball to the big part of the ballpark. That's the reason why he's got the triples. I'm not sure he got them all in this place, but we saw the one he hit last night, 436 feet, and got 3 bags out of it.
Tied him up. 1 and 2.
Volquez uses that good 2-seam fastball, and he bores it in on righties like that last one. That's a little overhand curveball, changeup. All 3 of them, when he's working it, are all moving down, which gets that hitter to hit the top of it.
Reaching. Still 1 and 2.
Reaching in, he's trying to pull it. That's a good sign for a double play coming. Alex Gordon in left field just been stuck on 3 outfield assists for the longest time. It's because nobody runs on him anymore. Rios has 1, and Dyson has an outfield assist in center and right.
Got him. Gaddis with nowhere to go at that ball in the dirt, and Volquez strikes out his first.
Boy, it's that late break. Fooled Gaddis. Hard to pick up the rotation first time through. Yeah, that's 0 for 6 now against Volquez in his career.
So Springer at second, Altuve at first for Luis Valbuena, who on one hand has a career high 19 home runs. On the other hand, he's hitting 199.
And another lane ball candidate. Lane ball is another term players use, pitchers use for double play. Put him in the lane. He's grounded into 9 so far this year.
Runners go, and Salvador didn't have the ball stick in his glove, so that takes away the chance for a ground ball in the double play as Springer and Altuve execute a double steal.
Salvi looked like he was heading for his buddy at second base, Altuve. He had his eyes set on second, but a little bit too low in the dirt. Couldn't pick it. That's a good move from A.J. Hinch there. Move the runners, keep them out of the double play now. A little easier chance to score a run. Infield's back.
Throw down to third. Springer is back, and it's 1-2 on Valbuena.
Powerful team. Number 1 in homers in the American League. Salvi had a little pick there. Just to let him know, hey, look, don't get too far off. But Volquez has done a nice job keeping the ball in the ballpark. Lefties only 3 homers off him. Righties just 2. Keep her down. This guy here, he can hit mistakes out of the yard.
Going to try and pitch him up, and Valbuena wouldn't go for it. 2-2. Valbuena hit 16 last year for the Cubs and already has 19 this year. He has 2 runners in scoring position with 1 out. The Astros are trying to answer the Royals, who got a 2-run home run from Morales in the top of the first. Still 2-2.
Eddie has the ability to strike guys out, but since he's been in the Royals uniform, he's been smart using the defense. He's pitching to contact. He's not trying to blow guys away. You can get him with a 4-seam fastball up, or maybe try to trick him with some of his good off-speed pitches.
Good movement. There was nothing Valbuena could do.
Well, that's the 2-seam movement from that 2-seamer. Boy, is that beautiful. Man, that'll lock any hitter up. Eddie pitching out of a jam so far. 1 out to go.
So 2 singles, 2 stolen bases, and now 2 strikeouts to Chris Carter. Like Valbuena, big home runs, not much of a batting average, and he's homered in this series. Breaking balls a little bit outside. 1 for 6 with a home run against the Royals. Homered in game 1 on Monday off of Brandon Finnegan. Back with a breaking ball, 1-1. In the most clutch of situations, 2 outs and a runner in scoring position, and Carter hits just 182. That one stayed up. Dyson back. He has room, and he's got it. Right underneath the 404 mark to deepest left center field. So in that part of the ballpark, Volquez had some room to play with. He had him all the way.
Exhale.
Royals to the top of the second inning as Volquez got out of second and third and one out in the bottom of the first. Students come out to Kauffman Stadium Wednesday nights for Student Night and Local Music Showcase presented by Inc. Magazine. You can mingle with friends and enjoy food and drink specials exclusively for students in the outfield experience while listening to live music from local Kansas City bands. Student Night returns next Wednesday with Tampa Bay in town and music from the Josh Berwanger Band. Get your tickets now for just $8 at the box office or at royals.com/student night. Alex Gordon strokes it into right field for a leadoff base hit. Royals got a 2-run home run from Kendrys Morales in the top of the first inning.
Boy, and I'll tell you, those early runs really do a lot for the starting pitcher and the whole team. All of a sudden now they're coming out. Alex swinging. That's a ball down and away, and he's able to reach out. Look at how he fully extended out there to touch it just to get on base. Good swing.
And now Alex Rios. Curveball bends in for a strike. Rios has had a tough trip so far. 5 out of 29 through Seattle, Oakland, and Houston. He did have a 2-hit game here on Monday. One and one.
I watched Rios today in batting practice. Stay short, hitting a lot of balls to right field and center field. He wasn't worried about hitting homers. He's a 10-year veteran. He knows that he can go deep, but he wants to get that short swing working. So, and look at this.
Good read. Alex picks up 90 feet on a wild pitch.
Exactly what you look for. Ready to advance on any little thing that bounces. Look at Al. Well, look at him up there at first base. He didn't even hesitate. Love those platinum colored bottoms he has on his cleats. He's got his cleats, and every so often when I see him run, I see it flash. Looks like he has fire on them shoes.
Two and two to Rios. A couple of years ago, Alex Rios hit for the cycle against the Astros. In his first 4 at-bats. Oh. And he goes into right center field, and that'll drive in Alex Gordon. 3-0 Royals in the second inning.
You advance on a little ball in the dirt. Seems like it's meaningless, but those little things add up. Rios doing exactly what he did in batting practice. Look at that. Perfect swing. No movement. Just used his hands, stayed inside, and was working that way. That's exactly how you come out of it, and you start doing that more often. You're going to see the home run number come back. We hope.
And let's see if Rios tries to get a good jump against Velasquez. Curveball in for a strike to Omar Infante. Omar has driven in 5 on this trip.
Velasquez is a good athlete. He has an average move to first, but he's got a high leg kick, and you can steal off him. There's his move.
Omar has hit safely in 13 of his last 15 games, and there goes Rios, and Infante was trying to go the other way.
Rios would have, Infante would have liked it a lot better had that been down just another inch or two, and he would have been able to shoot that ball to right.
Rios not running this time. 1-2 on Infante. Infante's recent streak of hitting safely in 13 of his last 15 games coincides with the day that he found out he was leading at second base in the All-Star voting. Got him with a fastball away. Velasquez strikes out his second. Our Toyota League leaders for tonight. The Royals, with the winning month of June, they now have 5 consecutive winning months. Longest current streak in the American League. Royals went 15-11 in June. The stretch began in August of last year. And it's also the first time in 30 years the Royals have 5 straight winning months. You got to go back to July of '84 through May of '85. And when the month began, the Royals were a half game back in the Central, and at the moment they are 5 games ahead in the Central.
It's a well-balanced team, starting from the organization at the very top all the way on down through. A little worried about Rios over there, trying to pick him off.
It was pointed out to me by a member of our crew that the Royals had a winning month in October as well, and St. Louis did not.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway. Gerard Dyson has made the most of his playing time. He got 2 starts in Seattle, 1 start in Oakland, and now 2 starts here in Houston. And he has batted .455 on the trip.
Stay hot.
Rios runs. Dyson takes a strike, and Rios was able to stay on the bag and has a stolen base.
4 for 4 for Rios. You know, he looked very runnerish over there at first base. He was flinching a little bit, and I think Castro, the catcher, who's thrown out 33.3% this year, that's a good mark. He's been noticing that, so he's been having the young pitcher Velasquez throw over there. Got him in scoring position.
0-2 on Dyson as he took a strike to allow Rios to run. And down on a curveball. 2 outs in the second inning. That's a part of Rios's game we haven't had a chance to talk much about, just because he hasn't been getting on base. And with his size and his potential power, it's easy to get excited about home runs. He's hit 20 or more home runs 3 times in his career. But 247 career stolen bases, 17 of those last year, 42 stolen bases just 2 years ago.
Yeah, fine athlete. Be nice to see him get that right field stroke down, just like we saw, and he'll be on base a lot more. His legs look good.
Breaking ball inside to Escobar, who took 2 fastballs for strikes to begin the game, and then ended up striking out on a curveball down and away. I don't think Velasquez will have that same luxury this time around with Escobar. Just a prediction.
It's all right. So inside move there just to keep a peek on Rios, but Velasquez
He's been working on the rotation of his curveball. It's been a little bit bigger than pitching coach Brent Strom would like to see. So they've been working on trying to tighten it up a little bit, make it a little shorter break. And they're doing that by setting the catchers up 55 feet in front of the plate on his side session, so he can work on shortening the break of to that curve.
Escobar on a roll lately with runners in scoring position. Skips away from Castro, but Rios will stay put. And Escobar really has been a go-to guy all year in situations like this. He is the Royals' best with runners in scoring position, and he is the 4th best in the league. He is hitting .280 overall, but you put a runner in scoring position and he becomes a .377 hitter.
Ooh, like that out of your leadoff hitter. He's looking for that fastball.
Out of play. How about 2 outs with runners in scoring position, and for the first time in quite a while, the Royals are not leading the league in that category. The Baltimore Orioles have passed the Royals by a couple of points. Minnesota's been a clutch team this year. The Royals will see them tomorrow. Just got a piece. Still 2-2.
Defensive swing. He's protecting. He's trying to buy a cookie by fouling off those little borderline pitches. Castro's probably telling him, don't worry about Rios. Let's strike this batter out here. George Springer in center field has 4 outfield assists. He's their strongest arm.
And they continue to play shallow in the outfield. Breaking ball stayed up, but it's rolled out to Gonzalez to end the inning. The Royals add another run. Alex Gordon gets on with a single. Got a good read and went to second on a wild pitch. And Alex Rios got him home. Sweet Royals fan yesterday. Noah Wilson was 7 years old. And his project to give fun Band-Aids to kids who are in the hospital. Royals Charities will be accepting fun Band-Aids donations starting tomorrow through Sunday. Collections will take place in the Royals Charities headquarters on the main concourse across from the Royals team store, or visit Noah's Bandage Project.com. A $2 donation buys a box of fun Band-Aids for kids. Joel spent some time during Hy-Vee Royals Live to talk about Noah and his love for the Royals, and so many pictures of Noah with Eric Hosmer. And Eric just seems to do something every day to establish himself, not to demean anybody else, but he's got that feel for when to go over and say hi to a fan or a family. He's been a go-to guy for the Royals. I remember we were on the road and he wasn't playing, and he and Bruce Chen went to go meet with a fan who was about to go into hospice when the Royals were on the road, and spent some time visiting with that fan, and brought a lot of joy to little Noah Wilson.
Yeah.
Good for him.
I'm so sorry for your loss. But it's some things that players can do that really make a difference in other people's lives. And the players that realize that are the ones that have lasting impression, lasting value in their career, not just for what they did on the field. It's what they do off the field. And those kind of visits really lift spirits and make people and families feel good.
3-2 on John Singleton. Oh man. Good luck tonight if Volquez has that moving all night.
Boy, there's no doubt when it's a strike throwing time, the way he's looking is that two-seamer to a lefty, man. It starts right out. You can see how the hitter Singleton looked like it was going to be in. He raised his arms thinking that's inside, and then as he took it, he said, wow.
Now Preston Tucker, who played in left field in the first two games, he is in right tonight. Product of the Astros farm system, Preston Tucker. Back to Volquez. 2 down.
It's a way to help yourself there. Now, I'm not sure Infante would have been able to get to that. Good reaction. We've seen Eddie Volquez do a nice job feeling his position this year. Another good play.
Marwin Gonzalez played at third base last night. He is at short tonight as Carlos Correa gets the night off. Correa was hitless in this series. And as A.J. Hinch put it, even 20-year-olds need a night off from time to time.
And that's more of a mental break as well as a physical break to go with their off day tomorrow. You're right. Sometimes you can be mentally tired and your manager can tell. His stuff tonight, Volquez, looks better than it did in Oakland in his last start.
And that was a pretty good one. Giving up just 1 run, 3 hits in 7 innings. Sal wants a pitch way up, and it worked. So don't forget fun Band-Aids donations starting tomorrow through Sunday, or visit Noah's bandageproject.com. Royals will be home to face the Minnesota Twins tomorrow night. Our University of Kansas hospital injury report. We will not see their talented outfielder Byron Buxton, one of the top prospects in all of baseball. He sprained his left thumb sliding. Second overall pick after Carlos Correa in 2012. But it looks like we're going to see their other top positional prospect, Miguel Sano. Saw some reports that he is going to be activated. Marwin Gonzalez makes the catch on Mike Moustakas, and I thought I read somewhere that we may see Irvin Santana.
Could be ready. They have a to be determined starter for Sunday.
Lorenzo Cain with 2 outs in the first inning tripled, and then Kendrys Morales got him home with a home run. So Lorenzo is 4 out of 9 against the Astros with 3 extra base hits, 2 doubles and a triple.
And you know, watching him last night and tonight in his base hit, he's just looking to put the ball in play in center and right. He's looking to the opposite field. He's not looking to jump, and that really keeps his shoulder in and closed. It looks free and easy.
Now this might be a stretch, so correct me if you think this is coming out of left field, but his right hamstring has been tight. That's his back leg. That's his drive leg. And I wonder if being careful with that right hamstring, is that helping him to not overswing? He's just taking some really nice, easy swings in the series.
Being his back leg, I'm going to agree with you. Because that's your torque leg. I mean, that's the leg you're putting most of your weight on to start. And then when you swing, you hope you're evenly balanced. But that's probably a good reason for that. He's relaxed. He's up there. He's not trying to turn. And when he turns, he has to put more weight on that back leg.
That's what I was thinking. If he overswings and spins out, that would put some strain. Oh, that stretch by Singleton. Two down in the third.
Watch his back leg on his first hit tonight. Watch how it goes. He went down. See how he went down and stayed very even. Didn't have to turn on it. Easy strides around the bases for his 4th triple.
And now Kendrys Morales, and on the topic of nice, easy swings, with one of those in the first inning, he homered the other way against Velasquez, his 10th of the year, and also giving him 50 RBIs.
He has a little bit of tail on his fastball, but it's lateral movement, and when it has lateral movement, it's barrel high. So he'll work on that as he evolves. He's a good-looking young starter from what I've seen so far. Ooh, nice changeup.
A reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Castro cut off any potential lane to Morales to go down to first, so he strikes out. That's 4 for Velasquez. order online with rapid pickup at delivery.panerabread.com. By Menards, save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And by Thoroughbred Ford, for the best deals on new Ford cars and trucks, visit thoroughbredford.com. 3-0 Royals in this final game of 3 with the Astros. Houston winning the first 2. Edinson Volquez allowed base hits to the first 2 batters that he faced, and now he's retired 6 straight with 4 strikeouts. And the curveball's a little bit inside to number 9 hitter Jason Castro. Hitting .212. 0 for 3 on Monday with a sac fly. Hit well to right field. Rios to the track. It didn't sound like he got it up the fat part of the bat, but it's still carried to the 373 mark. It's a second fly ball to the track for the Astros tonight.
No lead is safe against a home run hitting team. So offensively, the Royals want to continue to pile it on, but a couple of shots, warning track.
And now George Springer, who hit an impressive home run last night off the top of the left field foul pole. He had been just 2 for his previous 29. And really not swinging the bat well at all. And got around on a Danny Duffy fastball, which I still think was not a bad pitch.
It was in.
I think he was cheating.
It was in off the plate, and he was cheating. He was looking in there.
Gambling and cheating that he was going to get that pitch.
He swung 3-0, and he knew another one was coming.
2-1.
You see how that 2-seam movement moves down. Velasquez, the young starter, his ball moves across. It moves lateral. Here's last night. Now look, his hip is open. Rhino, he opened early, so he was cheating.
That same pitch earlier in the game. Remember, he had a half swing and got jammed as bad as anybody this year. Dyson on the run. 3 flyouts to the warning track. Houston Astros warning track power.
That's right. Gerard Dyson with a great read. I mean, he was on contact. Excellent jump by Gerard. He was on it, and I knew if it stayed in the park, he was going to get to it. Good focus, good concentration. Looks like his groin's okay.
Two down to Jose Altuve. Here's Joel.
You know, Ryan, when Jose broke into the league, I think there was a lot of talks. He was energetic, exciting, and he's just 5'6", but he's become one of the best players in baseball. Talking to Rusty Kuntz, and Rusty's seen a lot of baseball, hasn't paid to go to a lot of baseball games in his career, and Rusty said, if I had to pay to see one player in the big leagues, it would be Jose Altuve. They might agree with him here in Houston, although maybe not, as some of the Royals fans would say. But as far as Rusty goes, he said this guy, he has every single tool. He has a gift, all the tools, and he uses them every single night. Fun to watch. Defense, energy, and he said he is a nightmare to defend because he hits the ball where it is pitched. He hits, he runs, he has power. Rusty loves watching him, just hoping not watching too much good here tonight.
And he doesn't have to pay tonight to watch him play.
That's right.
Well, he has seen Altuve reach with an infield single in the first inning. Altuve has hit in 10 straight. He's missed some time recently with a sore right hamstring. There was a stretch of games where he missed 7 out of 9 games. Still 1-2.
And you know, it's amazing how much power he can generate with his short, quick, compact swing. Leads the Astros in doubles with 15. 7 homers is pretty impressive for the second baseman. Good glove. Excellent range defensively. Altuve looks like he's jumping a little bit out there, and before he got in the batter's box, he was checking out Moustakas, the third baseman. He was looking at him like he had bunting on his mind, but Moose was taking it away. Now with 2 strikes, he's back, and Altuve looks like he's trying to hit the ball down there.
And he does get one down there. And he's got a base hit. Maybe you were right. Second infield base hit for Jose Altuve.
Moose did the right thing. I mean, he busted out of that box. I mean, he smelt that hit right away. There's no way you throw him out there. The only thing you can do is throw that ball down the line and give him a little rally. Hitters, man, they love that. you couldn't have thrown him out with a cannon. Hits are hard to come by.
Now Evan Gattis. Gattis struck out swinging at a curveball. First time up.
You see how Altuve runs. Well, he's got 21 steals. That's most on his team. He's been caught 7 times. But, you know, a guy like Gattis, big and strong like that, with 2 outs, you better make sure you can make it if you do try to steal. Looks like he wants to go.
And now a change up. No balls, 2 strikes.
See that downward movement? That's one of the reasons why Volquez has been so consistent. He's able to execute that changeup masterfully. Curveball goes down. 2-seamer, wicked movement, and he's got the 4-seamer. Then there's the courtesy throw over. He don't care much about runners. Him and Chris Young, veteran pitchers, they know that hitter's the one who can hurt you.
Change up struck him out, so he got him with a curve in the first inning. Volquez has struck out 5 in 3 scoreless innings.
Steady Eddie putting on a pitching clinic so far.
Royals are coming up in the 4th inning with a 3-0 lead in Houston. It's time for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use hashtag KC Data Strong Fan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile.
Now, does that mean physically strong or colors with your Royals colors? I mean, you know, I'm a little confused by that. Data strong. Okay. Data strong.
Salvador Perez will lead off and take a curveball for a strike. He popped out to Velasquez. I like Velasquez, man. Big high pop up. There was a catcher there. There was a first baseman there. And he was kind of elbowing his way in for position, and he caught it.
I had to get my binoculars out just to make sure it was the pitcher who caught that. And first baseman Singleton, he kind of got twisted up over there. I don't think he called it soon enough to get him off of that.
He's 23. He's just making his 5th big league start. He doesn't know the rule that when you become a major league pitcher, look at that. I mean, he just get away from me.
Like it. Had it all the way.
When you become a major league pitcher, you automatically become unable to catch a pop-up.
That's right. Aggressive. Gotta like Velasquez's stuff. He looks good. He's got a nice, loose, athletic frame. Good downhill playing. Ball comes out of his hand rather nicely.
No swing. So this game could be a race to 4 runs. The way the numbers have played out this year, both the Royals and the Astros have had a great deal of success once they get to that mark. Our Academy Sports and Outdoors leaderboard, the Royals and the Astros are best in the major leagues, scoring 4 or more runs, with winning percentages of .900 and better.
Spells good bullpens is what that spells.
Royals need 1 to get there. The Astros need 4 to get there.
Going to challenge him. 3-2 here. Fastball. Ooh, he went with a breaker. Scouting report on Velasquez says he likes to challenge hitters. I was thinking 3-2 all the way there, but Salvi just got a piece of the hook. Second time through the order for Velasquez. More breaking balls. Changeups and curves second time and third time through. Another one coming.
Stayed up.
Oh.
Will it stay fair? No.
Ooh, man, that was a hanger. Salvi's eyes lit up. A tad out in front of it off the end of the bat.
Missed the spot, but he broke Sal's bat. That pitch was supposed to be down and away.
I think that it's pretty good knowledge that they know that Salvi's only had 4 walks this year. And he likes to swing his way on. So they might try to expand the zone here, and they did there. Twice. Got the hanger, and that ball was way up and in.
Alex Gordon's on deck, then Alex Rios. looking. Sal doesn't like it, and you rarely see Sal react like that to an umpire, and that'll bring Ned Yost out of the dugout. Paul Emmel is the home plate umpire.
Yeah, Ned needs to get out there now. Get out there soon enough, then get him tossed. Thank you. There you go. Be careful. Let it go. That's what Paul Emmel's saying. Might have an argument. Salvador Perez, 37 strikeout. That's not a lot of strikeouts. He doesn't like to go. He's saying it was down.
Five strikeouts for Velasquez. Edinson Volquez has 5 strikeouts in his 3 innings. Alex Singleton scored in the 2nd inning. Out to center field. Springer pivots and brings it down for the 2nd out. Remember, today is the last day to vote for the 2015 Esurance MLB All-Star Game. And we have a big vote party tonight at McFadden's in the Power and Light District. You can vote at Royals.com/vote. You can vote up to 35 times. And don't forget to watch the All-Star Game on Tuesday, July 14th on Fox. And that's in the air to shallow center field. So Velasquez, who was in trouble in the first 2 innings, has retired the last 9 Royals. 3-0 KC.
Astros, our Mazda game break takes us to Cincinnati. Uh-oh, this is what Billy Hamilton can do. It was a walk, and he was heading to third, and Chris Herman threw it away. And guess what? The Reds won the game 2-1. Johnny Cueto on the hill. So that is good news for the Royals. Minnesota should be on their way, or perhaps already in Kansas City awaiting the Royals. One other piece of news for you guys. For the 3rd straight night, the Indians have taken at least a perfect game into the 6th inning. I don't know what that says about the Rays right now. Carlos Carrasco did walk someone in the 7th. He has a no-hitter now through 7.
Valbuena, a former Indian, grounds to Morales. One down in the 4th inning.
But what that tells me is that keep your eye on Cleveland. They're not going away. With that kind of pitching, they're going to get back in it. Nice play by Morales. Good backhand.
So remind me, Joel, the first perfect game was spoiled by former Indian Grady Sizemore, right?
Correct.
The second
That was
one,
a home run.
The second one by former Indian Asdrubal Cabrera.
That was a walk.
Any other former Indians on the Rays?
I don't know what Joey Butler's ties are to the Indians organization, but he did break up the perfect game with a walk.
Okay.
And Kendrick thought that was funny.
Houston Astros with all that power, and they lead the league with 113 home runs, and Chris Carter nearly hit a 3-run home run in the first inning. Volquez has pitched very well so far tonight, and the Astros have hit the ball to the warning track 3 times. Carter in the first, and then Castro and Springer in the third. Volquez has kept them to the bigger parts of this ballpark.
Talking with their hitting coach Dave Hudgens before the game today, I asked him as I watched their batting practice, who hits the farthest shots in batting practice? He said, without a doubt, it was this guy Chris Carter, because it's such a free and easy swing.
Hey,
Smooth.
I think I was.
Two and two. No more than 18 pitches in an inning so far, so right at 50 in 3 1/3 innings. And with his gem on Friday at Oakland, 107 pitches in 7 innings. A couple of milestones for Volquez in that start on Friday. It was his 200th career start, and got his 1,000th career strikeout. 2 days later, Jeremy Guthrie got his 1,000th career strikeout.
Tremendous milestone for those veteran pitchers.
Left field, gone. And that's what a big, strong man can do in this ballpark. That did not sound like he got it off the barrel of the bat, but muscled it into the Crawford boxes, and that's the 4th home run of this series for the Astros to make it 3-1.
Salvador Perez doing all he can to try to guide Volquez, and you could see him before that pitch was thrown. Use your head. Watch him. He's going to say, come on now, use your head. Let's keep it down. This guy can take you deep. Look at his glove. Watch Salvi. Down here. We want it down here. And where he threw it was way off his spot. Dangerous pitch, off speed there, and able to speed up Carter's bat. And I agree with you. I don't believe he got anywhere close to all that ball.
And talking about milestones, that was the 100th career home run for Chris Carter. His 15th this year, his 2nd of this series. Life on that fastball. Singleton struck out on a pitch just like that one in the 2nd, and right there, man, he was jumping back toward the first base dugout, and that pitch almost ended up being a strike. And Sal wants a changeup, and it's a good one. 1-2. The sideways rotation on that pitch.
It's the 3rd home run that Volquez has given up to a right-handed bat. And 151 coming into this game. He's a nice job. Now that was obviously a mistake, but there's a big power hitter that didn't miss the mistake.
Still 2-2 on John Singleton, who had just been called up prior to this series. Big prospect in the Phillies organization. The Astros got him in a trade for Hunter Pence back in 2011.
He got overmatched towards the end of last season. And had a tough spring this year and didn't make the team.
Yeah, tough time with Volquez changeup. That's 6 strikeouts for Volquez. Join us for Star Wars Day at Kauffman Stadium Sunday, August 9th. The Royals and the White Sox. After you enjoy a day of baseball and a Star Wars themed entertainment day, dress up as your favorite character. Those who purchase the special ticket package receive a Jedi Alex Gordon bobblehead.
All right, folks, out there at McFadden's at the P&L District. Let's go. Get on them vote and get our guys in there, all of them. Keep it up.
Cespedes, Jose Bautista gaining some ground, but right now Lorenzo Cain and Alex Gordon would be starters. Cespedes still about 1.4 million votes behind Alex Gordon. Very high to right field, into the corner, and back into the crowd. Tucker grounded sharply back to Volquez in the second inning. Six strikeouts in 3 2/3 innings.
Morales went in and had a little visit with Volquez. There's not a happier guy on that field than Kendrys Morales. He's playing both sides of the ball. He's not DHing. He's absolutely having a ball playing first base.
In the air to left center field. Dyson wants it. And that's the bottom of the 4th inning. Chris Carter hits his 15th home run. The Astros are on the board, and now the Royals lead is 2. One-of-a-kind experiences at Kauffman Stadium with our Royals Memories program. A variety of on-the-field opportunities are available for purchase each game exclusively through the MLB.com ballpark app. You can play catch in the outfield, take in summer fireworks on the field, and many more experiences are available. Just simply download the ballpark app, pick upgrades, and select a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Royals scored 2 in the first inning on a Kendrys Morales home run. Alex Rios drove in the Royals' 3rd run in the second. And the Astros just got a home run in the 4th from Carter. Vincent Velasquez has settled in, setting down the last 9 Royals with 4 strikeouts along the way. He has 5 total tonight. Conte hits it to shallow right field. Tucker comes up to make the play. Omar is 0 for 2. Speaking of 0 for 2, here's Joel.
How about that? Well, we'll try to get a hit here. Gerard Dyson, the center fielder tonight. Last night it was Lorenzo Cain, and as Lorenzo says, he went up against the Hill, and the Hill won. Tal's Hill. Lorenzo said he knew it was coming, but his eye was on the ball, and he just knew it was a matter of time until that Hill crept up on him. Was okay on the first step, okay on the second step, third step, lost his balance. He said, I lost to the Hill. Now he's up second. I lost. He being Gerard Dyson. Dyson saying, well, the Hill's 1-0 against us. If I get a crack tonight, hope I don't, but if I get a crack, I'll see if I can beat the Hill. Both of these guys are thrilled that the Hill will not be here next year.
I would imagine everyone is thrilled that the Hill will be gone. Ed Yost has managed here quite a bit, with the Astros coming from the National League Central to the American League West. And Ned was impressed that Lorenzo made it 3 or 4 steps up the hill before he went down. He said normally an outfielder at full speed, they go tumbling down that hill in the first step. It's got to be at least what, 30, 35 degrees steep. I mean, it's not a slow incline. I mean, you hit a very steep hill in a short period of time.
Sometimes, you know, you hear people say, look like he was running uphill. Well, that's a legitimate running up the hill there.
And it might not look incredibly daunting. It's not like running up some kind of mountain, but if you're running full speed, and I walked that thing and even jogged it last year with Rusty Kuntz doing the story, it's jarring how quickly it comes up on you. And if you're in the middle of a sprint and suddenly you have to change like that, extremely difficult.
How long did it take you to jog that hill?
About a couple hours.
1, 2, 3, 3.5.
Not exactly the ideal venue either, or spot for the ball to go, as Lorenzo is nursing a little bit of that hamstring. But again, the plan with him has been maintenance all along and DH him today, but not exactly great for him to have that hill yesterday.
Dyson takes a call, 3rd strike. He doesn't have anything to say to Paul Emmel. Salvador Perez had to be separated from the home plate umpire when he was called out on strikes.
So far,
pitch looked a little bit outside.
It did. It looked a little bit outside, but Velasquez, having walked 11 and 19 the 3rd coming in, he hasn't walked a single Royal. He's been living on the edge.
Alcides Escobar is 0 for 2 so far. It seems like with the newer stadiums, when they're built, there is some sort of a nod to an old ballpark. And in center field, it was a nod to a couple of stadiums that have been taken care of many years ago. Field in Cincinnati had an incline, and Tiger Stadium, old Tiger Stadium in Detroit, had the flagpole in play. That's 12 straight retired by Velasquez. 3-1 Royals as Edinson Volquez goes back to work, and Marwin Gonzalez thought about bunting inside Minute Maid Park.
Beautiful.
I thought they'd open the roof at least once. I mean, it's not that hot outside, but
it's a lovely venue, especially with the roof closed. That humidity, man, that'll get you.
Well, we are excited to get back home. The Royals have been in a stretch of 17 out of 22 days away from Kauffman Stadium. And we have an 11-game homestand beginning tomorrow. Minnesota for 4, Tampa Bay for 4, Toronto for 3 leading up to the All-Star break. The ball carries better with the roof closed, they say, so that helps the Astros with their style of play. It hasn't been as oppressively hot here as it can be in the summer and like it can be in Kansas City, but like Kansas City, they have had one rainstorm after another, and so for the last 2 days the roof has been closed because of very heavy rains outside. And by the way, we understand there's some very heavy storms back in Kansas City in the Lee Summit, Raytown. Tornado warning.
Man,
tornado went, from what I heard back home, right around Lee Summit North High School. Power is out, trees are down. Hope everyone is home safe.
Yeah, even on east.
One-run game. Marwin Gonzalez hits his 5th of the year.
I had the feeling that the 3 runs the Royals got first 2 innings wasn't quite enough, and they're still hanging on, but with his power bats, and there was a 2-seamer that Marwin Gonzalez studied in his last at bat when he got him on that 2-seamer. He said, if he throws me that again, I'm going to swing, and he caught it. 5th home run of the year.
And remember, they got Gonzalez with a fastball up. Got him to swing at a pitch that was way up and out of the strike zone. That was in the strike zone. So the Royals lead is 3-2, and now Jason Castro, and he flied to the warning track his first time up.
Solo homers aren't the ones that are going to really hurt you.
First time that Volquez has allowed more than 1 home run in the start. The Astros now lead the league with 115 home runs, and they've hit 5 in this series.
He wants to get back downhill, get back down the lower part of the strike zone if he can. And rookie Vince Velasquez has done his part. He's tried to hold the Royals down, retiring 12 straight hitters, keeping his team in the game.
Hitting his spots. That pitch was supposed to be away, and it was down out over the middle of the plate. Volquez first walk. So tomorrow night through Sunday against second place Minnesota. Tampa Bay Rays have been a big surprise. Have you seen some of the names that are on the disabled list for Tampa Bay, and yet tied with Baltimore for first place going into today? And then the Toronto Blue Jays and all their power. They will be there the last 3 days before the All-Star break.
It'll be great to get home. Players can't wait.
Runner on for George Springer. It'll be out of play. Springer singled in the first inning and got to third with 1 out. The Astros had runners at second and third and 1 out, and Volquez got out of it.
He got away with a pitch there.
And that is a bullseye pitch. And then Springer flied to the track in center field in the third.
Hope that ball hit him in the forearm and not the wrist. Actually, that's where he's pointing. Two-seam fastball. It has a lot of movement. He's trying to pitch him in. You see where Salvi's set up there, and it just got away from him. Oh, hit him right in the base of the wrist. Right at the very bottom. Ooh, that hit him squarely. I wonder if he'll be able to stay in the game. That's the worst place outside of the kneecap that hitters want to get hit on, because your hands for everything. So it looks like he's trying to get the feel back.
And he's going to stay in. And Volquez points over and make sure that Springer's all right. Lets him know that that was unintentional. So Volquez gives up the home run to begin the inning. A walk and now a hit batter, and the time runs at second base. Go ahead run at first with nobody out. And now he's got Altuve, Gaddis, Valbuena, Carter coming up.
Eddie wants to get all that stuff out of his mind and get back down in that strike zone with that great stuff like he had the first several innings.
2 infield singles for Altuve. Royals are ready for a bunt. Moustakas is very near the edge of the grass. Not fully committed to a bunt, but in position just in case Altuve drops one down, maybe even for a base hit. That's Orbit, the Astros mascot, who's holding up a sign encouraging Astros fans to vote for Jose Altuve. And in between just about every inning and during batting practice, that's all you'll see on the ribbon scoreboards and the big video board in right field. Vote Altuve. Good movement. Altuve gave up on it, and it rides in for a strike. 1-2. I didn't know that about Jose Altuve. Did you?
No, I did not. I have a hard time believing that.
Well, they'd know here. Walker, Texas Ranger. We're in Texas.
He's been around a long time. He knew that roundhouse kick a long time ago. 9 double plays Altuve's grounded into. With his speed, that's a high number.
Up the middle. Volquez lost his glove trying to make the play. The throw goes to third. Springer is safe. Altuve goes to second. The Astros have tied the game, and they have runners at second and third and nobody out.
He got the ground ball he wanted, but it was right back up the middle. Volquez did all he could. Dyson tried a little running throw. It was a nice attempt, but just not in time. as George Springer got hit by the pitch. Very fast runner. It hurt his hand again. That wrist is bothering him.
Royals had a 3-0 lead at the end of 2 innings. Volquez got out of a second and third and 1 out in the first. Now has to get out of a second and third and nobody out and into the middle of the Astros order. He has really given Gaddis a bad time tonight. He has struck him out twice. Once on a curve, once on a changeup, and a fastball this time is grounded foul.
Volquez worked out of a heck of a jam in that first inning. He's going to have to do it again here. I mean, I don't know if he can keep this pesky team. They got good speed. 2 very speedy guys on, the two top guys in their order.
Curveball way out in front. He is just not picking up the ball out of Volquez's hand.
Not comfortable.
And that's an 82-mile-an-hour curveball. I mean, he's swinging at it like it's 72 miles an hour.
He's way out in front.
That curveball stayed up. Gaddis to second. He's out, but he drives in his 48th and 49th runs, and the Astros lead by 2. So they went back with the same pitch. Why not? It made him look so bad the pitch before, but that one stayed up.
It did, and he was defensive. It was too good. You got to dirt that ball. You got to throw one in the dirt, let Salvi block it even with a runner at third. But this was just a pitch that's right over the middle of the plate. All the hits off of Volquez in this inning with 2 strikes. They're too good. You got to expand that zone on that if you can. But there was Gaddis protecting with a good short swing. Got to give him some credit for putting that ball in play to the opposite field. Rios got to it with a nice strong throw, his second outfield assist. Perfect throw to get it.
Gonzalez opened the inning with a home run, but really the momentum started with the walk to Castro, number 9 hitter, who was hitting .211. Then Springer hit by a pitch, so the first 2 runners were gifts. And now the ball gets away from Sal. It's a long throw, but he's got plenty of arm. And he gets Valbuena. Valbuena strikes out for a second time, and that's 7 for Volquez. But as you pointed out, Altuve doing a good job of putting the bat on the ball with 2 strikes, and Gaddis the same.
Salvi heads up, went right back, took a little peek before he picked it up, see where Valbuena was, and if he was running, and it makes a good accurate throw on the dugout side of the bag. That's perfect. Great throw by Salvi. Helping Edinson Volquez get out of this tough inning.
Chris Carter just missed a home run in the first inning, and then he did homer in the 4th. Two and 0. Season high 5 earned runs allowed by Volquez. Franklin Morales warms up in the bullpen. Volquez gave up 5 runs at Chicago at the end of April, but 4 of those runs were unearned. 2-1 on Carter. 2-2.
That's a good pitch there. That two-seamer to tie him up. That's the same one that got away and hits Springer. But that's a good pitch against a power hitter, especially to set up this next one. Maybe an off-speed pitch, breaking ball in the outer half.
Fastball struck him out. Volquez has 8 strikeouts, but the Astros get 4. Royals have led by 3. Now they're down by 2. With a 4-run bottom of the 5th inning. Our Sonic Slam inning contestant is Patty Farr from St. Joe, and if the Royals hit a home run this inning, Patty wins $500. If the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Patty wins $25,000 from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals. A good time to answer the Astros. Moustakas, Kane, and Morales. Royals put the pressure on Vincent Velasquez in the first 2 innings, scoring their 3 runs, but Velasquez has set down the last 12 Royals.
Time to change that. Remember, 2nd, 3rd time through, he likes to go with his off-speed pitches, and there it was there. Nice a changeup that was down and away from Moose. He went to his off-speed pitches sooner tonight.
Velasquez does not have a major league decision. Astros have 2-2 in his first 4 starts. Coming off his best start as a big leaguer. That was Friday against the Yankees. Look out. Camera well on the far end of the Astros dugout. Moustakas has popped to 3rd and popped to short.
Hughes has the 4th best average in the American League against right-handers. 347 coming in.
Led that curveball all the way. 2-2.
And did you know that he's the best hitter in the American League in night games? 340 average. Now, if you tell Moose that, he'll go, "Oh, really? I didn't know that." There's some statistics out there that pitchers are clueless about.
3-2.
Hasn't walked a batter all night. He has a tendency to be wild. Not tonight, though. He's been good. Another really good young pitcher the Royals have seen in this 3-game series against the Western Division leading Astros.
Curveball pulled on the ground to Altuve. He waits for Singleton to get back to the bag. One down in the 6th inning. So it's 13 in a row. Retired by Velasquez.
What a nice job of keeping his team in the game when the Royals had got 3 runs on him. He just went to work. Kept throwing strikes, keeping the Royals off balance with his good fastball hit. And to me, looks like he's not trying to overthrow that pitch. But in the end, he's had some outings that he was overthrowing. That's a tendency of a young pitcher that comes into the big leagues. And you have a strong fastball, and you want to impress guys and see if you can throw it right through the wall. But he's looking like a pitcher tonight.
Strike 2, Lorenzo Cain.
That's free and easy arm action.
Lorenzo tripled and scored on the Morales home run in the 1st inning. He's 1 for 2. One ball and 1 strike. Oh man, talk about a heartbreak. Well, go ahead.
I was looking at it. He's just got great form. Very, very good form for the young guy. Velasquez.
Into the corner. Foul. All right, here's the heartbreak. Carlos Carrasco lost a no-hitter with 2 outs in the 9th inning. And it was Joey Butler. And Joel was in here and told us that Butler walked in the 7th to break up the perfect game. And then with 2 outs in the 9th, Joey Butler with a single. Carlos Carrasco 8 2/3 hitless.
Oh,
1-2 on Cain. Lorenzo's the DH for the 2nd time in this series. And in being the DH, he has gone 4 for 10 with 3 extra base hits. Was it Dave Steve? Didn't Dave Steve lose a no-hitter in back-to-back starts?
I remember he had several one-hitters, but I'm not sure if they were back-to-back. Amazing, though. Great run by Cleveland, starting staff. Really good.
It's been pitch efficient. 75 pitches in 5 1/3 innings. No long innings to tax his overall pitch count.
Castro, the catcher, in his 5th year, trying to trick Lorenzo Cain by telling Velasquez to shake and then put the fastball down. Make the hitter believe that something else is coming.
Another base hit for Lorenzo Cain. That makes him 5 for 11 in this series. And he's on with 1 out.
Okay, that snaps Velasquez's impressive streak. Again, a nice, short, compact swing on a ball that was off the plate. He was able to reach out and just slap it into center. Okay, now the Astros have this massive shift on Morales, but the outfield, they're shifting the other way to the opposite field. So the Astros are trying to get Morales to pull the ball on the ground, but they think he's going to hit the ball the opposite way, like he did in that first inning when he hit his big home run there to give him the lead.
There it was, fastball away early. Good early runs for Edison Volquez. Good easy swing. 10th home run of the year. 50th ribbies.
Out at second. Double play, inning over. 4 straight scoreless innings for Velasquez after he allowed 3 runs in the first 2 innings. Every night in baseball, but on one night, they all happen in one place. Don't miss the 86th All-Star Game. Coverage begins at 6 o'clock Central, Tuesday, July 14th on Fox. And that's where we stand right now with the All-Star balloting. Alex Gordon, Lorenzo Cain, Alcides Escobar, Omar Infante, Salvador Perez in. Voting ends tomorrow. John Singleton takes a strike. He has struck out twice. Evan Gattis had struck out twice and was down 0-2 and drove in the 2 go-ahead runs. So we'll see what Singleton does in his 3rd at-bat against Volquez. Pulls it on the ground through the right side. 8 hits for the Houston Astros tonight.
Yeah, you wonder how long Ned's going to wait. He had an opportunity in the 5th to go get him, but now I think it's the right time. And he had great stuff the first 3 innings. First 3 innings he cruised. He worked out of a jam in the 1st. And his stuff looked very crisp, and then all of a sudden he lost command.
So Volquez, who has never lost to the Houston Astros, comes out, and somebody will be a Chevy call to the bullpen. Franklin Morales. 10 of 11, but the Astros have scored 5 over the last 2 innings. Saturday, the Rays head to the Bronx to take on the Yankees in a game you can only see on Fox Sports 1 beginning at 11:30 a.m. Then at 6 o'clock Central, it's baseball night in America as the Royals take on the Minnesota Twins on Fox. It's all this weekend on your home for baseball every Saturday, Fox and Fox Sports 1. Franklin Morales on with Singleton at first and Preston Tucker at the plate. Morales has been just eating up left-hand batters lately. Yankees gave him a tough time early in the season, but now left-hand hitters in their last 34 at-bats against Morales have 3 hits. They have 4 hits in their last 35 at-bats, and the Astros have 2 on with nobody out.
Astros offense just keeps coming. Morales, he has a good fastball, but that was right down the middle. He's going to have to keep it down and hit the spots. Try to hold him right there. Don't give him any more. There's nobody out. He's got a nice slider that he'll use. Keep down with the 5th inning, man. I'll tell you what, this was the inning that undid Volquez. Oh, man, Gonzalez with a nice, easy, compact swing on a fastball on the inner half.
And now he'll switch over to the right side where he's a better hitter as far as average goes.
Boo's playing in at third base thinking he could possibly bunt. I doubt it. I mean, the way these guys swing, I don't think A.J. Hinch is going to take a chance on wasting it out on a bunt. 2-run lead, nobody out. He didn't swing.
In the first 3 innings, the Astros had 3 base runners. In the last 3 innings, they've had 8 base runners. And it looked like it was going to be a long night for Houston with the way Edinson Volquez was pitching. Ooh, it's a swing. Even though he's hit by the pitch, he swung.
That's literally called a back leg slider. I mean, it got him right in the quadricep. Ouch.
Pitching him inside again, and that's called a strike. Gonzalez thought it was inside, but he really leans into the plate. Let's see where Fox Tracks had it.
That's a hard cutter that he's been using, as well as his big slider. Look at this, at 90 miles an hour. That's a really good movement for a cutter. Usually cutter's only like an inch, maybe 2, but that looks like that's about a 3 or 4 inch cutter. His slider, it's a lot bigger. It's got more depth.
And now Morales gets another left-hand batter in Jason Castro. I wonder if Volquez, while he's sitting on the bench and thinking about his outing tonight and looking back on batters he wished he could have back or pitches he wished he could have back, where the walk to Jason Castro would rank. Morales fields to Morales. 2 down. Singleton goes to third. Tucker goes to second. And now Domingo Santana is going to hit for George Springer, who has not only hit by a pitch on his wrist last time up, but then landed on his wrist in a head-first slide.
Yeah, I'm surprised that he stayed in the game. I'm taking him, a young hitter like this. Watch this, where it hit it. Hit him right in the base of the wrist. I'm going to take him out and put him on ice and x-ray that right away just to make sure my young hitter's taken care of. But they let him stay in the game.
Not for very long.
No, but I mean, he stayed on the bases, and that slide didn't help it any.
Ryan Madson will face Santana. Another Chevy call to the bullpen. Two outs. Now Ryan Madson with 2 on 2 down. Farmland shows us what's cooking at the K. We have Buck Night and Fireworks Friday, a trucker cap giveaway, and 4th of July fireworks Saturday. The Herrera Davis Holland t-shirt giveaway Tuesday against Tampa Bay. Wednesday is a student night. And then the Blue Jays the following weekend, another Buck Night and Fireworks. And then on Sunday, right before the break, a slugger magnet set and another family fun day Sunday. So both teams make a move. A.J. Hinch sends up Domingo Santana in place of George Springer. And Ned Yost pulls Ryan Madson out of the bullpen. Madson has outstanding numbers in his 31 games.
Can't give him any more runs. Hard fastballs. Low to mid-90s. Look at that spot around the quarter. Excellent changeup. Occasional sliders.
Just talking to Ryan before the game tonight about his season and just wanted to get his assessment. Has anything surprised you, or how do you feel in comparison to your numbers? He said, you know what, it's been more of a struggle, believe it or not, than the numbers would indicate. That he's still working hard, he's still fighting out there, and believes that his early success had to do with facing a lot of new hitters who had never seen him before. And now they're starting to look for that changeup, sit on that changeup. He sees the adjustment and pointed out, hey, I know the numbers look good, but it's just one half of a season. He's still working hard. He's still learning the hitters as the hitters are learning him.
But I've noticed that he's come up with a cutter, and most recently we've been seeing it. He just threw it the previous pitch before that one. That's helping him a little bit. Wade Davis and him been talking about that pitch. It's a very effective pitch for Wade Davis. And Madsen can use it in his repertoire.
Singleton at third, Tucker at second. Fastball for a strike at 94.
I don't know what he's looking for. 3-1.
Maybe the changeup.
Ooh, that's right there. He might get it now after that fastball.
And he did.
Oh, beautiful pitch.
Santana thought that he made contact. Paul Emmel says no. So the Royals get out of it. 2 on, nobody out. And Morales and Madsen get the Royals out of the 6th inning. Royals down by 2. Perez, Gordon, and Rios coming up in inning number 7. Baseball is brought to you by your Midwest Ford dealers. Visit yourmidwestforddealers.com. And by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price every day. Royals had an early 3-0 lead. Came out swinging and swinging well against Velasquez. And now Velasquez has retired 14 of the last 15. Domingo Santana stays in and plays center field. He pinch hit for George Springer. And we just got word from the Astros clubhouse that Springer out with a right wrist contusion.
Well, that's good news. You hope that won't keep him out too long, but it's a good thing there's not any broken bones in there. 95, when you dive into a pitch, sometimes that'll really hurt you.
And now 3-0 to Sal.
See if Salvi can get his 5th walk of the year.
He does. Heck of a plate appearance.
4 straight. That might be the only one of the 4, or excuse me, 5 now, that was on 4 straight.
Vote for the Royals Player of the Month at rallyhouse.com, and you'll be entered to win a majestic prize pack from Rally House. Brent Strom, one-time Royals pitching coach, about to have a chat with Velasquez. Royals will have a tying run at the plate with nobody out. Here are are sprint cuts of the game for the Royals tonight against Velasquez.
Curveball was tightened up. Talking with some of the broadcasters from the Houston Astros in between innings, saying this is the best curveball we've seen the kid ever have. And he pulled it out against a good fastball hitting team. In Vasquez's last outing, he threw the Yankees more fastballs than he did off-speed pitches, and it's the reverse against the Royals. The Royals are so good at attacking that fastball. He knew that if he could get that breaking ball tightened up to have a little more tighter rotation, that he could be successful, and it's worked so far for him.
Alex Gordon is 1 for 2. He has scored one of the 3 runs. Curveball's in for a strike. Alex singled leading off the second. Went to second on a wild pitch, and Alex Rios got him home. Oh, 2.
Alex wants that one back.
Come back with that fastball. '96.
Tried to beat him inside. Alex almost got to it. Plenty of holes out there on the field. Just got to try to find one. Looks like it'd be easy to do. I could tell you, Brian, after 21 years of playing professional baseball, when I went to the broadcast booth the next year and I got up here, I couldn't believe how green it was and how much room there was sitting in the broadcast booth. It was amazing. I'm thinking, how can you not get more hits with all that room out there? That you never see that field level. You don't see it like you see it up here.
So answer the question, how could you not get more hits?
It's tough. It's just that pitcher. He doctors that ball. He twists it, spins it, changes it, and to try to square it up with a round bat, it makes it tough. You would think you could do it more often.
Now it's started to trigger. No swing. Jordan Baker is the third base umpire.
Nice check.
Still 2-2. Fastball at 95.
I get Alex wearing him down. Also milking that pitch count.
Astros in game 1, they got 7 innings out of Lance McCullers, who allowed 1 run, 3 hits. Last night, 8 innings from Dallas Keuchel, no runs, 7 hits. And 6+ innings from Velasquez tonight. Hard curveball at 83, and Velasquez has his 7th strikeout.
Best curve of the season so far for Velasquez. He's dealing with that. He's got a lot of confidence in him. One heck of a game by him. Royals happy to see him go.
So he goes 6 1/3. Crowd appreciates what he's done tonight. 25,848. Josh Fields is the new Houston pitcher. Archer coming on for Houston. Alex Rios at the plate. We remind you to follow live Royals baseball with the MLB.com at-bat on your smartphone or tablet. Stay connected to the Royals wherever you are with the MLB.TV Game of the Day, in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, and more. Josh Fields, 24 in a third innings, 36 strikeouts.
Pretty good. One of the best.
Alex Rios jumping on a first pitch fastball. We haven't had a close game yet, so we haven't had a chance to talk about these two excellent bullpens. The Astros are second in the league in bullpen ERA to the Royals. They have the best walks and hits per innings pitched. Base hit left field for Rios, who has a two-hit game. And the Royals and the Astros bullpens are 1-2 in the American League and inherited runners stranded.
Fields is one of their few relievers that has a power fastball. 93 to 97, a big curveball, and it's a power curve. He calls it a changeup. And that curveball is what Rios hit right here. Good spot down lower part of the zone, but he stayed on it, slowed the pitch down enough to speed up Rios' bat and pull it by the shortstop. Good time to chip in a run here. Infante coming into this game a 300 hitter with a runner in scoring position. Really up that mark in the last few weeks here. He's been getting some clutch hits. Time for another one.
Fastball riding in at 95 miles an hour.
That is Infante's speed. He likes that fastball. Doesn't matter how hard he likes it. I was a little surprised he didn't offer it that from the get-go.
At the knees, hard, maybe even a little bit below the knees.
You're not going to hit that one. No. The one before that was the better one. But that one there off the plate like that kind of speed and location. He might just try it again.
Bounces a curve. It rolled away from Castro, but all it did was get Castro closer to third base. That would have been a short throw.
Yeah, but that would have been a great chance to advance. But with Salvi at second base, you know, you just can't take a chance. He might have got thrown out. That could have taken him out of an inning, but didn't bounce far enough. Be surprised if he doubles up with that curve. I'll try to come back in there with another fastball, but let's see.
Fastball, he got the pitch that he wanted, but hits it to Tucker in right field. No tag. 2 down.
Salvi has a duck out of the way, and immediately he looks out to right field at Tucker and has a big grin for him, and Tucker's smiling back at him.
And now Gerard Dyson, who had a tough time against Velasquez. He struck out twice, but Dyson's had a good road trip. 5 hits and 15 at bats. He has Perez at second, Rios at first. First time he faces Josh Fields.
Dyson's been showing a good short compact swing. Matches up well with this fastball if he could just get one level. June 25th is the last home run he hit of last year. I think he's overdue.
I was going to say, that's not something you usually bring up for Dyson.
Nope, but that would be extremely special right here. And that was off Dan Herron when he pitched for the Dodgers.
Salvador Perez reached with a leadoff walk. With one out, Rios singled, and now 2 down. Royals have not scored since the second inning when they had a 3-0 lead. 2-1 on Dyson.
Remember, the scouting report on Dyson to pitch to him is all belt high and above. Try to get him to hit the ball in the air. Can't utilize his speed when you throw pitches down around the knees and he makes contact. That's playing into his game. See, Gerard can just have a nice short swing and he can get one down the middle.
Grounded foul outside of third base.
Ball was just about 3 inches off the plate outside.
And 2, and now the added advantage with the runners going. Alcides Escobar is on deck.
Okay, Gerard can just focus on a nice easy short swing like we said, and a fastball you can pretty much believe is coming. If he throws him anything else, it'll be hard to lay off of it.
I don't know if pretty much believe is enough confidence for me.
All right. Get him, Gerard.
And he lines it into left center field. Dyson ties the game, and he's going to go for 3.
Well, it's not a homer, but he did exactly like he wanted. Knew a fastball was coming, and he shortened up his swing and just placed it nicely to tie it. Ha ha! And to go, Gerard.
Dyson 6 out of 16 on this road trip.
What a huge hit by Gerard Dyson. 4th triple and a beauty. Look at that. Pitch strike on the outer half, but he didn't try to jump him and try to hit a homer. He just said, you know what, I'm going to lay it out there and let the speed work. Nice to see him running too without a limp. Cleans the sacks. And it's a new game. Nice to hear the Royals fans again here in Houston. Big hit. That away Gerard.
And now Alcides Escobar with a chance to put the Royals in front. Fields doesn't have his good curveball tonight. Escobar has faced Fields before, 0 for 2. He is 0 for 3 tonight. Esky has hit in 7 straight games. Way high and inside. Fields is overthrowing, probably out of frustration.
May 29th is the last time Escobar homered.
Yeah, but Esky only homers on the first pitch of the game.
Well, that's okay. We're just going to stay with it now. We're going to try to talk him. Anything under a homer would be just fine. How about a lousy single? How about a chopper right up the middle?
Both of Escobar's home runs on the first pitch of the game. One at Detroit and one at Wrigley Field.
Yeah, you're right.
Ooh, he got a good pitch to hit. And hits it out to Santana in center field to end the inning. The Royals clutch with 2 outs. Gerard Dyson hits a 2-run triple to score Perez and Rios.
but how about that run production? Beautiful.
Other scores as Panera takes us around the league. Told you about Cincinnati beating Minnesota. Alfredo Simon gave up 15 hits in less than 6 innings. Cleveland all over Tampa Bay, and St. Louis right now leading early against Chicago. Our Mazda game break told you about the U.S. women advancing to the World Cup finals. They'll be playing against Japan. That in the 93rd minute is an own goal. The first ever stoppage time own goal in Women's World Cup history. Japan advances with that. The championship will be Sunday on Fox at 6 Central. So you get the
decider?
Royals. That was the decider. No, that was the decider. Heartbreaking. So you can watch the Royals on Sunday, and then the Women's World Cup after that. After this game, hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to Gerard Dyson. Boulevard Royals Live as the Royals very excited to head home. They would love to do that with a win in their back pocket. Guys, one more quick thing. Yordano Ventura in his rehab tonight for AAA. 5 1/3 innings he goes, gives up 1 run, 4 walks, or pardon me, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, 84 pitches.
All right.
Thank you, Joel.
Kelvin Herrera for the bottom of the 7th inning. Altuve, Gaddis, and Valbuena coming up.
Got a new game.
Edinson Volquez is off the hook. He gave up 5 runs in 5 innings. He also struck out 8. And now Altuve is hit by a pitch.
Yep.
You don't have long to get out of the way when Herrera throws a fastball in there. Doesn't look like he's in as much pain as Springer, but that got him on the forearm. 98. Don't feel great, believe it. Herrera didn't want to do that. Guy leading his team in steals.
The Astros have already lost George Springer to a contusion on his right wrist. He was hit by Edinson Volquez in the 5th inning. Well, it's the first tight game between the 2 teams in this series. 2 teams with very good bullpens. The Astros won 6-1 on Monday. The Royals didn't score until the 7th inning. And then Houston won 4-0 last night.
You got to believe Altuve is looking to steal a base here in this situation.
And now Gaddis takes up and in. Salvador Perez and having Gaddis talk it over.
Gaddis said something. Gaddis did. He said something, and Salvi just said, "Hey, look, he's not trying to hit you. Got to get that control. That's a little bit too high up there." Now watch Gaddis. He said something. So Salvi hears it. He stands up and says, "Hey, look, it's okay."
It's all right if he's a little uncomfortable at the plate.
It is, but he took a rip like there. He wanted to hit one out of the ballpark here. He took a big swing.
He struck out in his first 2 at-bats against Volquez. Volquez made him look bad, and then the count was 0-2 in the 5th inning against Gaddis, and he had just taken a bad swing at a curveball. But with the count 0-2, he drove in 2 with a single. Altuve runs, and the throw was right on the bag, but it's out of Infante's glove. Altuve has his league-leading 22nd stolen base. He led the league in stolen bases last year, in addition to winning a batting title. 56 stolen bases last year. That was very close to being an out.
Yeah, if he catches that, he's out. I mean, it was a great release by Salvi. Able to got a fastball right down the middle. Fonte couldn't stretch out and open up that glove enough to get it in there. And that's the first hit batter of the year, Altuve, by Herrera, by the way. You don't see Herrera missing too many times.
Still pitching him inside, 100 miles an hour.
You got to be careful with that changeup too with Gaddis. If he's going to throw a changeup to him, he's got to make sure to bury it down. Throw it out over the middle and speeds his bat up.
Tell Brett Lawrie that's the first hitter that Herrera's nailed this year.
That's right. We won't see them again this year.
Off of Herrera and over to Infante. That was headed for center field and putting the Astros in front. But it deflected to Infante, and the Royals get an out.
Whew, man, fortunate there. That was a high fastball. He shortened up his swing. Caught Herrera. Looked like at the back of the leg. And that ball was heading right up the middle. Whew, that's a little bit of fortune there. Now Herrera's going to have to go to work. Take a look and see where that ball hit Herrera. Nobody coming out to check on him. Must be okay. Hit him in the calf, right calf.
The Royals will bring the infield in with the go-ahead run at third base and 1 out. And Luis Valbuena at the plate. Outside for ball 1. Valbuena is 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. He has 19 home runs this year. He has never faced Kelvin Herrera.
Change-ups away.
Up and away.
Yeah, making sure it's away. This guy, he hits any mistakes that are in.
That went down to 19% after Valbuena, with runners at second and third and 1 out in the first inning, struck out against Volquez. (3-0).
Not the right time to be missing your command, that's for sure. He's flying open a little bit with that front shoulder. He's not able to get downhill and get that ball down around the knees where Dave Island wants it.
not even close to Valbuena. 4-pitch walk. Dave Eiling will come out. So the Astros have a runner at third because of a hit batter, and a runner at first because of a walk.
It's probably going to tell him to stop trying to overthrow. Looks like your shoulder's coming out. Don't overthrow. Stay right down here in the zone. But maybe you can get Carter into hitting the ball at somebody. Roll up a pair, that'd be the best thing. However, as a strikeout guy, Carter, you can strike him out if you put it in the right spots.
He has struck out once tonight. He has also homered tonight. He has 106 strikeouts this year. He has faced Herrera twice, and he's 0 for 2 with a strikeout.
Valbuena just one steal this year. See Salvi's pointing to his shoulder. Come to me, right downhill.
Down and away, ball one.
A little better. Just reminding him, I'm sure that's what Dave Eiling told him. When you're missing up and away like that, it's that shoulder just flying open and arms dragging behind.
Grounded to Moustakas. He'll come to the plate. Altuve is safe.
Must have got his hand in there. That's why it's important. If that throw is down low enough to where Salvi can get it and tag him, you can't block the plate anymore. This is a perfect time to block the plate if you could. But Moose on the run. And it looked like the home plate umpire, Paul Emmel, was right on top of the call. Tag. Got him.
The Royals will challenge.
Did Salvi get that tag on the back of his shoulder before he got his hand down?
Depends on where they think contact was. If the contact is there, he's out. If it's there, well. Paul Emmel, the home plate umpire, on the left. Jerry Meals, the crew chief, on the right.
And it was a good throw for Moose off balance like that. We saw the same play in Oakland with their third baseman. He threw way high on the run. Moustakas got his feet up underneath him and was able to make a pretty decent throw. Altuve doing the outside slide. It's going to be a close one.
Boy, they just showed an angle up on the video board here that looked like he was out. It looked like he got him on the back. That's a tough angle there because you really can't see the contact. Here's one. Contact there, but then you can't see his hand.
Ooh, I don't know, man. This is way close to tell.
You know what they can do when there's a tag up play, and that's reviewable now, is you can look at two screens at the same time and you can sync them up. You know, when the outfielder's making the catch and the runner is tagging. I have not seen a case where they would sync up two replays on a play like this, where the tag is being made and the hand is touching the play. I don't think they'll go to that extreme, but to really determine whether Salvi made the tag, if in fact he did before Altuve touched the base, it's almost like you'd have to see two angles at the same time.
They had the right guy on. The mistake was hitting Altuve and letting him on base. He's so fast on contact, man. He was home in a split second. It's a good play by Moose. There's nothing you can do. I mean, outside of the throw being a little down low, but I mean, you're not going to be perfect on an off-balance throw.
I have not seen anything that's clear and convincing.
I'm afraid it's going to go against the Royals.
Okay, here you go. Contact
there.
Is he making contact there? If he is, he hasn't touched home plate yet.
Nope. It looks like he got him there.
Because it looks like there's a fold in the glove, doesn't it?
Yeah, his hand's not on the plate yet either. He's out.
Well, they're giving it a third, fourth, fifth, and sixth look. Big run. Bottom of the seventh inning, the Royals in the top of the seventh just tied the game at 5. And if this stands, this would be the dreaded 1 run on no hits. With a hit batter, a stolen base, a walk, and a fielder's choice.
Moose did all he could. Ball wasn't hit that hard. It's kind of a chopper, and he came in, got it. Nice throw on the run. Did all he could. Salvi with a good quick tag, but Altuve, man, he fastest guy on the team. Made a good slide. He's a little impatient over there. His weight's killing him.
Well, I don't doubt that he could have been out. The call stands, so the call was not confirmed. The call stands. It's just a matter of where was contact. That's the one right there. Is he making contact there? So close. But we're taking a shot.
Sure was. Especially with the game on the line. Of course, we've got some time to go here in this one.
And by the way, it's first and second with 1 out. Changeup is outside, 2-0 on Singleton. Runner at second is Valbuena. He walked. And Carter, who picks up an RBI, is 39. Is at first base. Two and two.
What a nice adjustment Herrera's making now. After falling behind 2-0, he's got his shoulder working right down here. That's exactly what he wants to do. Get a little downhill angle and hit those corners. With that power fastball, it'd be hard for them to hit it, especially with that one. That last one located on the outer half.
Fastball up at 98. Singleton strikes out for a third time tonight. 2 down in the 7th inning. Herrera pitched well in the Oakland series. He had a couple of scoreless innings. One on Friday, one on Sunday as the Royals swept that series. The email from MLB after viewing all relevant angles, not to be confused with irrelevant angles. The replay official could not definitively determine that the catcher tagged the runner prior to the runner touching home plate with his hand.
Oh, well, I can agree because it was hard. We couldn't tell all the angles. That's as bang bang as you're going to get.
Altuve gets on, albeit painfully, hit by a pitch, steals a base, goes to third on a ground out and scores on the fielder's choice. Escobar fields. He'll go to second to end the inning. Jose Altuve created that run all by himself. Pitch, steals second, goes to third on a ground out, and scores on a fielder's choice with a hustle down the third base line. Final game of the series, final game of this long road trip. Minnesota waits for the Royals at Kauffman Stadium. Chris Young with his 7 wins and 2.71 ERA up against Kyle Gibson, who was so tough on the Royals. And now in the last 2 games against Kyle Gibson, the Royals have been able to score some runs, and that'll be a battle of first and second place for 4 games beginning tomorrow night.
And none of them will be easy, believe it. Twins will be scrapping and clawing.
Minnesota has already lost 2-1 in Cincinnati this afternoon. So the Royals lead at the moment is 5, and now down by 1 with 6 outs to go, and Joe Thatcher is out of the Astros bullpen with his funky left-hand delivery. He'll get Moustakas, and then Kane and Morales coming up. There's nobody warming up behind him in the Astros bullpen. Moustakas ahead in the count, 2-0.
Okay, you got that lefty Thatcher, the veteran, 6'3", 230, 87 to 91 on his fastball. He'll cut it into righties. Use that big slider away to lefties.
And now 3-0. So the Astros hitting in the bottom of the 7th began with a free base, a hit batter, and now Moustakas ahead in the count, 3 balls, no strikes. He is 0 for 3 so far tonight.
Here, boy. Here, boy.
3-1.
Those numbers are as expected. Righty's going to see him a little better.
Three balls, 2 strikes. Moustakas faced Thatcher in game 1 on Monday, and Thatcher got him on a ground ball to first base. Still 3-2. Royals had a 3-0 lead at the end of 2. Houston got 1 in the 4th, 4 in the 5th for a 5-3 lead. Gerard Dyson had a 2-out 2-run triple in the 7th to tie it, and the Astros just scored in the bottom of the 7th to retake the lead. Into center field and right at Santana, one down in the 8th inning. Well, there was nobody warming up behind Thatcher, but somebody was already warmed up with Kane, Morales, Perez coming up. So Thatcher in to face one man. He gets an out. Pat Neshek on the pitch for Houston. Eighth inning. He appeared last night and pitched a scoreless 9th inning after Dallas Keuchel pitched 8 scoreless innings in the Astros 4-0 victory.
Neshek, very funky delivery, no doubt. 87-93 with his sinking fastball. Slider he'll be throwing to Lorenzo Cain.
On the ground to Gonzalez. 2 outs in the 8th. Cain is 2 for 4. And now Kendrys Morales. He got the scoring started in the 1st inning with a 2-out home run to left off of Vincent Velasquez.
Sure did help out Volquez for a few innings until they got to him. Volquez lost his command, but that was a nice shot. Very good shot up there. Royals had a 3-0 lead early as they got a run in the 2nd. Good sinker.
And quickly 0-2. Kendrys struck out against Neshek last night, and that was his first at bat against the Houston right-hander. An arm angle like no other.
Right. So A.J. Hinch said, you know what? Just leave him in. He's got a changeup that he'll throw too now. He's had some success with the first 2 pitches.
mentioned it last night. Pat Neshek was an all-star last year. And the all-star game played in Minneapolis. He grew up in the Twin Cities and was a former Twin. That was a slider for the record. And now the benches have been worn. That's silly.
I think it is.
Come on.
Just play the game. Okay. Neshek wasn't trying to do that. Trying to pitch him inside.
Going to hit him with a slider.
No. You don't want to put the tying run on. Salvador Perez comes up. Extremely dangerous.
Chop to third. And it throws him out. That's the inning. They may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Ryan Lefevre, Rex Hudler, Joel Goldberg inside Minute Maid Park with producer Joe Lavero, director Steve Kurtenbach, our associate producers Al Broughton, Sam Abramson, Dave Holtzman, and the producer of Royals Live is Brian Shapiro. Wade Davis with the Royals down by 1 in the bottom of the 8th inning. We'll get the 8, 9, and 1 hitters.
Fantastic ERA. Look at that. Opponent's average 134. He can strike you out. 90 to 97 will range his fastball. He'll cut that fastball. Low 90s. Big overhand curve.
"33 innings for Wade Davis, 1 earned run. 1.
So keep it that way. Give the Royals a shot in the 9th.
Pointed right back to Davis. He has time and throws to Morales for the out. Wade Davis continues to improve upon and lower that ERA by a reliever over a 2-year span. So since the beginning of last year, his ERA is 0.77. It's the best over 2 years since 1914.
Wow. Pretty impressive. Good focus. Great stuff.
And by the way, it's 26 points better than the next closest reliever. Astros fans are moaning and groaning as they've had 2 batters hit. Kendrys Morales was hit last inning on a slider. Paul Emmel issued a warning, and now the pitch is inside to Castro.
In between innings, I saw A.J. Hinch go over and talk with Emmel. Probably was talking about the same things we were up here. So my guy threw a slider. You weren't trying to hit him.
That'll be out of play.
Davis uses both sides of the plate, and he uses the upper part of the plate. With his power 4-seam fastball, he'll get guys to swing at with 2 strikes.
Luke Gregerson warms up in the Astro bullpen. He has 18 saves this year. A little bit outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The Royals will have Gordon, Rios, and Infante in the 9th inning. Now 3 balls, 2 strikes. Castro really got the rally going in the 5th inning. Houston's biggest inning. They scored 4. Gonzalez homered leading off the inning, but then you're back to nobody on, nobody out. But Castro, the number 9 hitter, walked. After he walked, Springer was hit by a pitch. And then the next 2 batters drove in 3 runs. Altuve had an RBI single. Gaddis had a 2-run single. It's the biggest inning tonight. 4-run 5th inning. Castro's batting just .209. Does have 7 home runs, but you want to make him swing the bat.
Hasn't shown him the curve yet.
Castro 2 years ago hit .276 with 18 home runs. That was an Astros record for a catcher. But then .222 last year. His average went down 54 points, and batting .209 as he stands in there right now.
League figured him out.
Back into the 5th row. Astros first-round pick, Jason Castro. Out of Stanford, former first-round pick. Davis shook off a couple of signs. Salvi first put down a slider and then put down a curveball, but Davis wants to go with the fastball. Broken bat. Fair. Right on the line. Rios played it well, and his throw is just a little late.
Davis challenged him. Castro won. Another high and tight fastball. Was trying to get him to pop this ball up. It was in, and he was able to turn around on it. No fan interference. Rios really nice job of getting to that ball. Escobar tried to somehow find a way to pick that short hop. That's a good at bat there by Castro.
Now Domingo Santana. Fastball by him in 95. George Springer started the game in center field. He was hit by a Volquez pitch in the 5th. Finished the inning and came out on defense the next half inning, and then Santana hit for him in the 6th. And Springer last report with a contusion to the left wrist. Disappeared on Santana.
It's a wicked cutter there.
Astros have 3 runs tonight, so half of their runs where that runner reached with either a walk or he was hit by a pitch. Totally overmatched. 2 down in the 8th inning.
Great spot. Firm and away. Hard to touch.
And now Jose Altuve, who's been perfect tonight. 3 singles, 2 stolen bases, 2 runs scored. And he's been on base 4 times. He is 0 for 5 against Wade Davis. Big curveball in for strike 1. Jason Castro at second base. He doubled up the right field line. Off the plate and foul. No balls, 2 strikes.
Makes Altuve so dangerous is when he swings like that, like he did earlier in the game. That infield hit when he's off balance and he tops it. Man, that's a base hit. This young guy, he can beat you a lot of ways.
Still 0-2. Won the batting title last year. Hitting at .341. First Astro to win a batting title in either league. And to just add to the legend of Jose Altuve. The coaching staff tried to get him to sit out the last game of the season to clinch the title. He said absolutely not. Then he went 2 for 4. Trying to make contact with fastballs in the mid-90s. He had 225 hits, which led the league and was a Houston record. 56 stolen bases to lead the league.
Yep. He can do it all, really. Defensively, he'll make some great plays out there. Now, Davis hasn't shown his curveball yet tonight. He's got a good one.
Boy, he had Altuve diving out over the plate for something away. It's what he was doing when Herrera hit him. Kind of strides into the plate.
Sure does. Goes right into it. That's a good pitch by Davis. Get him in off the plate. Good spot.
Here's the curve. Rolled to Escobar. Inning over. Wade Davis has another scoreless inning. Last chance for the Royals. Luke Gregerson coming on for Houston. Alex Gordon has a hit and a run scored. Rios 2 hits. An RBI and a run scored. And Infante has driven in 5 on the trip. In the top of the 9th inning. As promised earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite.
Oh, Gerard Dyson, 3-2 pitch, just kept his swing short. Tied the game up with an outstanding piece of hit. His 4th triple of the year.
Luke Gregerson, 18 out of 20 in save opportunities. Do you remember Luke Gregerson?
I do. I think the Royals remember him too. It's a pretty exciting baseball game last time we saw him. Okay, now 4 home runs he's given up. He's not an overpowering guy. 87-92. He's got an incredible slider that is very deceptive. It goes straight down. I mean, it almost looks like a split finger. When he gets ahead of guys, he's going to drop that pitch there. It's a cutter, his fastball, so he's got some good movement to it. He's closing for a reason. He's got good stuff. Good movement. Good location. Not overpowering closer.
Outside to Alex Gordon. Alex singled and scored back in the 2nd inning. That exciting game we're referring to. Luke Gregerson was pitching for the A's last year in that wild card game. And he pitched in the 8th inning. He allowed an RBI single to Billy Butler in the 8th inning. He also threw a wild pitch, which led to a run. Alex Gordon walked in that inning against Luke Gregerson. No swing. So nothing shows up in the official Major League stats as far as a matchup between Alex and Gregerson, because that only includes a regular season, but Alex has seen him before.
Good sinker, that first one he threw in. First strike. There it is again. Sinks that pitch, and he also cuts it. Look at the movement. And then he's got that slider that's really deceptive.
Three and two. Alex Rios has a 2-hit game. He's waiting on deck. He has 3 career at-bats against Gregerson. Back to Gregerson. Got him to try and pull a sinker away. 1 down. Gregerson never had more than 9 saves in a year. He did that with San Diego in 2012. 2 years ago, he had a major league record for holds. He had 40. And now 18 saves and 20 chances this year. And a huge turnaround for the Astros bullpen. Last year, they had the highest bullpen ERA in the American League. 2 years ago, they had the highest bullpen ERA in the major leagues. And coming into tonight, they have the 2nd best ERA in the American League, only behind the Royals. Rios pulls it foul into the Royals dugout.
When you face a guy like this, it's going to be tough to try to pull him now. That pitch was a little bit up and in, and Rios had a pretty good rip on him, but you want to try to stay in the middle of the field with this guy with your approach. Very tough to square him up. His pitches move all over the place.
And so far, he has basically just put, whether it's his breaking ball or his sinker, in the exact same place. To a righty or lefty, down and away, down and away, down and away, down and away.
Pitches to that shifting defense, although they're playing Rios straight up.
Rios is 0 for 3 in the past against Gregerson. Omar Infante waiting on deck. Down and away. Down in the 9th inning.
Yeah, right-handers, you know, you can expect that slider. 70% of the time, he'll throw that to righties. And with 2 strikes, he expands the strike zone. He'll expand and move it away from the plate, just like he did there.
Omar Infante, 2 at-bats against Gregerson. He is 0 for 3 tonight. 25,848 at Minute Maid Park. Not a bad idea.
Great idea.
That really caught Valbuena off guard. He was very deep at third base.
I'd like to see him go ahead and go through with the bunt attempt, because this is a guy that, with the ball moving down like that, you bunt the top of the ball, you got a chance. I can try it again.
Yeah, Gonzalez maybe has come in 1 step from where he was on the first pitch. Instead, he grounds it out to Gonzalez. And let's get the heck out of here.
Wow. The Royals, they saw why the Houston Astros are so good in this 3-game series. Great starting pitching. Good defense. A powerful offense and some speed. And a great bullpen. See you in July. Late July.
So it doesn't